Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is June 4th, 2022, and today we're going to be having an election prediction between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Now, this is the most likely matchup that's going to happen in 2024, and my reasoning for this is because obviously Joe Biden is the incumbent, so he's the most likely to win on the Democratic side. But on the Republican side, polls consistently show that President Donald Trump still has a firm grip over the party. And while it's possible that either one of these candidates could have health issues, seeing as they're both pretty old, or any other sort of thing could in fact arise, as of right now, I believe this is the most likely matchup. And as a result, let's look at how this outcome would fare. So first off, in our election prediction, we have the safe states. This includes states that are very unlikely to flip unless something major potentially happens, which at the moment is highly unlikely. And honestly, I think I would put Virginia in this column too for the Democrats, just because of how much the state has trended towards the Democratic column. But on the Republican side, we also have quite a few states. Let's just fill these in. Nebraska's second is a toss-up, seeing as it did go to President Joe Biden in the last election. And with that out of the way, not Georgia, whoops, we have all of our safe states. And actually, I'll add New Mexico for the Democrats in this column, though the margin probably won't be in the safe margin, but this is a state that's very unlikely to flip towards the Republicans. But now let's move on to the likely states. These are states that are highly unlikely to flip. Let's put Nevada, Colorado in this column. Actually, I'll move New Mexico and Virginia into this column as well. I think that concludes it all for the likely states. So moving into the lean states, let's start off with the Republicans. The first state we have, which may come as a shock to some of you, is the state of Florida. Now, the reason for this is because Florida has gone to the Republicans in the past two presidential elections. And in terms of their Senate and gubernatorial and the governor's race, they've also gone to the Republicans. And the state is certainly trending more towards the Republicans. And it's quite likely that in 2024, we're going to have a Republican wave year, seeing as President Joe Biden is currently the president and his approval rating as of right now is not looking very too good for him. But aside from that, let's add the states of Iowa and Ohio in this column. These states did go to President Donald Trump by a pretty hefty margin in 2020, and it's quite likely that they will in 2024 as a result as well. And next we have Texas. This one doesn't require much of an explanation, but I do think that the margins for Texas are not going to be as big as we may think, because this state is trending more towards the Democrats as time goes on. And I do think that the state is going to be decided by a percent or two. So it's quite possible that it could go to the Democrats. But given Joe Biden's approval rating, I don't think that this is the most likely scenario as of right now. And for the Democratic side, we have Minnesota. That one doesn't require much of an explanation. Sorry, for the likely column, we have New Hampshire as well as Maine overall. And I think that concludes everything. Actually, we can put Arizona too in this column. Honestly, with the states of Arizona and Georgia, while I do think that the margin is going to be close, just because of how these states are trending in terms of the changing demographics, I don't think even with the Republican wave year in 2024, they will flip. Aside from that, now we move into states that are going to be decided by less than a percent. Now, these states can honestly go anyway, but the first state that I have is North Carolina. I think North Carolina is the least likely of all of these states to actually flip to the Democrats out of these four states. But I do think that it's possible that it could flip under the current circumstances. However, despite this, because of Joe Biden's approval rating, which I keep referencing, and the fact that he has done very little in his agenda that he promised to the American people, it's quite unlikely that he's going to be able to win this state. Now, I will caution one thing, however, and that is President Donald Trump's inability to actually appeal to a lot of voters. Now, previously in 2016, if we look at the way that he ran his campaign, he ran a lot more of a populist message where he promised that he would bring jobs back, etc. However, a lot of his commentary now is shifted over to talking about the rigged and stolen election. And there was a poll that actually came out by Gallup, I believe, though don't quote me on that, where only 15% of Republicans actually want him to continue to talk about the 2020 election. And it's quite possible that if he continues to talk about it, he's going to see a decline in the polls because his own base doesn't want him to do so. And as a result of this, I do think that it's quite possible that the Rust Belt will flip to President Joe Biden. But at the same time, I do think that the more likely scenario is that he ends up winning with the states of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, and Joe Biden wins the state of Michigan, which leans slightly more Democratic compared to the other states. But honestly, I don't even know if I want to fill in these three states just based off of how close the margin is. I think the margin is going to be certainly closer than 2020. Um, these states can honestly go either way. But if I'm there to make a prediction, I'm just going to put the states in this particular column. So yeah, that concludes this election prediction. It's going to be really close, and until we get closer to the race, we honestly don't know how things are going to go. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like and a comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.